Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, Sioux Empire arts and entertainment lovers. Does my voice sound better this week? I sure hope so, man. That was a week of hell, not being able to speak when that's what you enjoy doing for a living. All right, well, here we are now to episode 164. I won't say 100%, but I'm going to give it a 90 plus. All right, as for the show, we have got some wonderful guests coming up. From the White Spruce Chamber Players, Brett Cooper's going to tell us about their program that they have going on at Poplar's Music on Saturday, February 4th at 7 p.m. Then from the Dakota News Now morning show, Erik Thorstenon and Aaron Doudna. What a fun time chatting with the two of them. Plus, we'll tell you who gets this week's honorable mention, as well as draw for another winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
All right, it is time to toast some people that get no credit or very little, and they are overdue for praise because it's been a crappy past 4 or 5 weeks for them to be working. Double shifts, very few days off, but raise them high and toast to the Sioux Falls Street Department. I realize that many residential streets, especially the one I live on, still very narrow. Could basically call them one-lane roads at this point. But those crews have been out working on them for several weeks. So guys, gals, all part of the Sioux Falls Street crews, thank you. And keep up the good work. Then rest up for a week and get ready for pothole season. But once again, thank you to the Sioux Falls Street crews. Boy, it's been a hell of a year, hasn't it? Wow. It's time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. We draw a winner each week, and this week we say congratulations to John Unruh. Hey, congrats, John. That would be Jack Unruh's father from, the Late Night Boomin' Show. And if I'm not mistaken, John just had a birthday. So, hey, congrats, John. We'll be in touch with you. Get you all set up for some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com. Honorable mention. It's an interesting honorable mention I give this week because I wasn't able to attend it. I was a sponsor and I couldn't attend because I was under the weather. But Snow Jam Comedy Festival, you did it well. First of all, our friend Graham Wilson, the Gramster as we refer to him, he's one of the people that helps out technically here as part of the unpaid staff of the Dave Holly Hour. The man supports comedy like you can't believe. And he was given an award, and it was a little funny how they set it up, too. They made sure that Graham actually went to the opening night as if there was a doubt he was going to be at everything. But regardless, they wanted to make sure he was there, and they were telling him that he was going to be presenting an award. Little did he know that he was the one getting the award. So congratulations, Graham. Well-deserved on that. And then what was cool was I finally was feeling well enough to record one of this week's conversations on Sunday morning. And as I'm in the Source on Sunday morning, here's 3 people sitting at the bigger table, just a few seats away from me. And I find out, sure enough, they were comedians that were here for the festival, and they could not say enough about how wonderful the festival was and how great a city we have. So proud to have been a sponsor. Congrats. Honorable mention going to the Snow Jam Comedy Festival. Later in the hour, a fun conversation with Erik Thorstenon, known as Thor, and Aaron Doudna, who you may call Doudna sometimes, from the Dakota News Now morning show. But up next from the White Spruce Chamber Players, Brett Cooper on the Dave Holly Hour. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
And now, more of the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. You know what I'm going to say. It is always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and it's always great to have somebody back on the show, too. Brett Cooper, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm sorry. Sorry for the delay.
How are you?
Off to a strong start. Yeah. I am doing well. Frozen, but doing fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, that happens in these neck of the woods, don't it? Yeah, no doubt about that. Pardon the bad grammar there, my sister. White Spruce Chamber Players is a group that you and your wife, Laura, happen to be in. We had you on back in the fall. Actually, I think it was kind of late summerish almost, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and you had a world premiere that you were doing that time. But now you're coming back, and you've got a show coming up on February 4th.
Yep.
Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so we are going to kind of pare things down and do just some duos, some duets, 2 at a time. We're going to play at the Poplars Music Store. That's on 1119 West 41st, kind of 41st and Grange over by Costco. Yeah, our first time playing there. They've sort of done a wonderful thing with their piano gallery. They're like the Yamaha dealer in town, and the head of their piano sales department his name's Matt Wellert. He's been very hospitable and cordial and invited us over to play. So we're going to be there on February 4 at 7 p.m.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what will we hear out of that? You said duets, but give us some names of composers.
Yeah, so
we'll be listening to.
Yep. So we're going to be playing 3 different duets. So it's going to be a cello sonata by Frédéric Chopin. Mm-hmm. So if you're a piano player, that name should ring a bell, and you'll say
very much.
Yep. We're going to play a violin sonata by César Franck, and he. We can talk more about the pieces in a little bit, but he's kind of the ultimate late bloomer. It's a cool story about him and that piece. So I'll be violin and piano, and then we're going to play a piece for 2 violins by a gentleman named Jean-Marie Leclerc. And I will confess I've never heard of the guy before. I think if you're in the strings world, if you're a violinist, you'll say, "Oh yeah, Leclerc, come on, Brett, get with it." But yeah, so he's kind of from kind of around the same time as like Johann Sebastian Bach, kind of that same era in music history. I say that like I know it. I looked him up on Wikipedia 2 days ago.
Well, it's funny because you said that because as you were saying things earlier about, we'll talk about the pieces individually later and so forth, is that really when you kind of get into this music, you have to kind of get into this music, don't you? It's not just playing the notes that are written down. It is learning about that composer. It is kind of getting into their mindset too, isn't it?
It's fun. It's fun. And you'd be surprised that every piece, no matter what, always has some kind of story to it or some origin. Like, when I was a kid, I always, for some reason, thought that, like, there'd be some divine lightning bolt that would strike a composer's head, and then they would just be compelled to put something down on paper, be inspired to put something on paper. But usually it's like somebody had a request, somebody had a commission, somebody had a due date, somebody had a publisher thing that they were itching for. So yeah, it's just fun that everything's got a purpose to it.
All right, so favorite composer, is this like asking the proverbial choose between your children? That's which one's favorite?
Sure. Oh man, that's a tough list. I mean, the first name that pops in my head is Tchaikovsky. He's just so much fun, such great melodies, such gorgeous harmonies, and everything's fun and just fully fleshed out. Love it. Yeah, but it's a long list, and I don't want to eat up the whole hour.
Where does Vivaldi fall?
And
fall being a little bit of a pun.
Actually, okay, you'll like this. So the opening movement of his fall concerto from Four Seasons was the recessional when Laura and I got married.
Oh,
yeah, so
wonderful!
There you go. Yeah, so
yes.
he cracked top whatever number just for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he a favorite of yours?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
In my let's see, I think it was a junior year in a music class, music appreciation, and had to write an essay on Four Seasons. So
sure,
yeah. Just absolutely love that.
And the winter, that just kills me. Yeah, just that opening movement of winter just kills me.
Right. Well, the opening movement around winter here has kind of killed a lot of people too. But you're about to warm it up then on Saturday, because that's a Saturday, right? February 4th. Yes. 7 p.m.
Correct.
Excellent. So I can't make it because I do work Saturdays, but until 4. But so I will be there then.
We will have you there. Super. Thank you.
I don't know if I'll have bells on my toes, but at least at Pompler's Music, they probably do have some bells.
I bet they have bells for sale.
We can probably buy them, can't we? What got you into playing strings?
My better half, Laura, pretty much. Yeah, so Laura, the cellist. So we met in college, and I was her accompanist. And then, we became each other's significant others.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just been, wonderful in my life. In a macro sense, of course, but then in a musical sense to kind of like delve into that type of thing. So you find things that bring you together, and that sort of music is one of the things that brings us together.
What about disagreements? Who wins those?
No such thing. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
You play the same card I do. It's not that big a deal. We move on.
Well, best words: happy wife, happy life. It's good advice.
That's for sure. No doubt about it. So, what do you look for when you're choosing something for a concert?
Oh, that's a good question. You have such good questions. I was
try.
Like, what is he
normally
even gonna?
I only get one in per interview. I'm up to 2.
Okay, that's a good question. It oftentimes is kind of a Venn diagram of who do we have that's around that wants to play, where does it kind of fit in a program, and also is it something that we've heard on the radio before, or something that you had to do an essay on back in the day, or you heard about so and so. So it's kind of just trying to mesh all those things at once.
All right. So your full-time job is at the Washington Pavilion.
Yep.
So obviously you're going to see all of the things that come through that door. In terms of press for what South Dakota Symphony is going to be doing. You see all that. And do you sit there sometimes and look at those and go, got to keep that one in mind?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's kind of fun to just like thumb through and see what concerts are coming up and see what artists are coming through, and you're like, I wonder what they're going to be playing. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Now, do you divide this, most of us would think of this as quote-unquote classical music.
Sure.
Are there subcategories to that?
Can you specify that question?
Well, when we think of rock and roll, we can think of the original rock and roll, we can think of southern rock, we can think of country rock, different things along that might all fit into more of a larger time frame, like classical music does. But when we get to classical music, is there a such and such era and so forth? Yeah.
Okay. So if you're gonna be a novice and you walk into like Music History 101,
right,
they'll probably tell you about 4 main eras, and so they'll call it the Baroque era. So that's kind of like your friend Vivaldi in that era. And then they'll hit up the classical era. So that's kind of like Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven.
Okay.
So that's like roughly 1750 to 1800, and then they'll talk about the Romantics. So that's kind of where we're digging in mostly on this program. So that's roughly 1800-ish to about 1900, and then they'll call it like the 20th century or the modern era, so 1900 on. But all those, I'm sure if you get a couple of music history professors, they will
There'd
just
be some
rake me over the
bickering.
coals
Yeah.
for like, Brett, no, that is no. But and then you get genres within there, so kind of four main eras.
Yeah. Is there a particular one that you enjoy most?
I'm probably I don't know. I like them all
Yeah.
because they all have different things to offer, and like you wouldn't want to necessarily play, although they do play the Four Seasons at a concert because it programs well, but like you wouldn't want to play like, all the you wouldn't necessarily want to play like, I'm trying to think of. You wouldn't want to play all of the Haydn string quartets all back to back to back to back in a single program or something like that. Although some people do, they do it in like a series. And again, someone may have just said, Brett, come on, playing all the Haydn quartets in a cycle is great, but we kind of like variety. We like to sort of mix it up.
Right. As an appreciator of music overall, but most specifically the string music, then, do you ever want to dabble in being a composer?
Oh, I have just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I wrote a sonata for Laura and I, a little cello and piano thing, and we'll maybe one of these days try it out. And then this was fun. I recently penned something for one of her school ensembles to play.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So it's this is fun. So in the student orchestra literature world, they oftentimes will throw in cool titles, and they'll kind of make sure they're like the pieces are really fun and upbeat, and they might throw in the word dragon, or they might throw in the word fire or the word pirates or something in the title, just so the seventh graders go, oh, cool, we're gonna play such and such. And so
We're going to be on Game of Thrones.
exactly. So there's this kind of running gag that for one of Laura's concerts, inadvertently all of her middle school groups had some piece in their set that all had the word dragon in it, or it had the word
my.
fire in it.
Yeah.
And one of her students said, you know what, they should just have some piece called Dragon Fire and then just be done with it, so we don't have to like worry about all these combos anymore. So I wrote a piece called Dragon Fire. Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Give us an idea of what it's like.
Oh, it's kind of a little a tone poem is what they call it in music history, when it's kind of a piece that tells a story. So it's like really, 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 really loosely based on kind of the Smaug dragon tale from The Hobbit with Bard
Okay.
the Bowman. I don't know how much of that story you're
A
familiar
little
with.
bit of Hobbit stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
enough to
basically-
get by.
Yeah, it's basically
I'm
like-
not going to win a trivia contest with it.
You're good. The dragon, and then like the hero slays the dragon, the townspeople, celebrate kind of thing. Really loose, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was a long answer to.
When can we hear this? Do we have
That's
to go to
gonna
one
be-
of her schools?
Yeah, that's going to be at the Patrick Henry Middle School Orchestra concert, and I don't even know what day in the spring that is.
But it is coming up this
But her
spring?
students are working on it. They're having a good time. They're good
All
sports
right,
for trying.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I will have to see if I can take that in, that's for sure. What has been the most surprising thing for you since you started the White Spruce Chamber Players?
I am surprised by how many people, not necessarily audience members, but like fellow musicians, are excited about wanting to team up with us for stuff.
Excellent.
I think, I'm not sure of a compare. Okay, so like, folks go through, like their high school football team or their high school basketball team or high school swimming team. And then like they get really good at what they do. And then it's kind of like when they hit adulthood, they're kind of like, shoot, now what do I do?
Right.
And, in a music sense, a lot of folks will go through high school and collegiate training or whatever, and they might, get to play in a big orchestra or sing in a community choir or a professional choir community, like you think of like the Muni Band and all the professional musicians that play there. You get that big group thing, but it's really hard to coordinate getting a small group together to do the kind of music that we do. And it's a lot of treasures and gems for every instrument in all these different combinations. And so-and-so who plays the clarinet is just like, oh, I'd love to play this piece by so-and-so, or someone who plays the French horn, oh, I'd love to play this piece by so-and-so, but it's kind of hard to get it coordinated.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to sort of be that vehicle to get those kind of bucket list things to come true. for
Right.
people.
So how many times have you had to bill it as with special guest?
Yeah, we're trying to do that more and more. So yeah, in the fall, hopefully I'll hit you up. Later in the summer, we've got.
Oh, I'm sure that you will have the opportunity to be back on the
Yeah,
show.
I appreciate
I
that.
just, since there's a new one that comes out every Thursday, we have a few. But certainly,
I will be back if you keep on inviting. So like we're gonna be working on a piece that has a French horn part and a clarinet part, along with strings and piano, which you don't see or hear much, but it's kind of cool. That kind of answers your earlier question of like, how do you pick stuff? Sometimes
Right.
you've got friends that are really great at playing these instruments, and you can bring them together.
Yeah. How many have said, "Hey, Brett, can I play?"
A good
Most of
handful,
them?
yeah. So we're
Okay.
trying to like get folks in the fold and try
Yeah.
to make it happen. So
What do you hope to see out of this group down the line?
I would. That's a good question. I think we're trying to sort of get ourselves sort of playing concerts peppered in and around the area. So not necessarily for like our own
Right.
glory or ego satisfaction, but just like
Just to be able to bring arts to another.
just bring it all over the place. So we've played in a handful of communities in and around Sioux Falls. So actually, we're playing in Sioux Falls on February 4, and then we're going to be in Brookings doing the same program at their First Lutheran Church Sunday the 5th at 2 in the afternoon. So
Excellent.
First time we've been up to Brookings, so we're going to
See,
go up that
you're
way.
branching out.
Yeah,
And,
branch out, I think.
Now, does that put pressure on you when you go to a place like Brookings where they have a pretty good music program?
Oh, every place you always want to do your best, yeah.
How did you learn to be a good musician? You know, a lot of people will learn to play a particular instrument, but what does it take to know that you've gone above the average?
Oh, I don't think I'm there yet, but that's sweet of you
Really?
to think so. Yeah, I mean, I think knowing that you're never quite there. I mean, it's like those, I'm really bad at math, but like, you get those functions and they don't quite
Right.
hit the line, but they're almost hitting the
Yeah.
line. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like there was a really famous cellist. His name was Pablo Casals, and he, for a long time, the cello was kind of relegated to sort of like a second tier instrument in the orchestra. The violin was always the star, and the cello was kind of like whatever. But Pablo Casals really made the cello a standout instrument, and I think he famously kept on playing until a very, very, very old age. And he was like in his 90s or something. I could be way off on the number, but someone said, "Mr. Casals, why are you still practicing at the age of such and such large number?" He says, "Oh, because I'm finally starting to get the hang of it."
If I'm not mistaken, Doc Severinsen was like 6 hours a day yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
yeah, and
just-
he's been amazing for decades. And
No
he has-
doubt.
Yeah, I think still keep at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you want to play with? In a big, if somebody were coming to town and they needed you and your skills,
Oh, that's a big
who
question.
would it be?
I don't know if I have like that wish list person. I think it might be, I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for that. Yeah. I think I
We'll
like
let you
making,
think on it for next time when you come back in
there
the fall.
we go.
Yeah.
I just like making the music with the people that I know already.
Yeah,
So.
and that tends to be a thing. What do you appreciate about what music does for an audience?
It's surprising how much it means to people. There was one concert we played where a friend had sort of twisted this person's arm into going to one of our performances, and this person was like, "All right, I'm not really feeling it. But okay, fine. You twisted my arm. I'll
Right.
go." And whatever piece we played, if there was just something that the composer wrote down, or we happened to I played just the right number, right notes at the right time, it just kind of like. And this person was so candid to say, like, "Man, I was feeling pretty low, and like thanks to you, it just kind of the skies opened up and things brightened up, and
Wow.
that really meant something." So sometimes you kind of think like, "Oh, okay, it's all pleasant what we're doing," but actually it can
Right.
really turn things around every now and then.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up a little sidebar to a personal story of my own from many years back. I was a professional clown for a while, and I went over to the rest home in Edgerton, Minnesota, or one of those small towns in Minnesota. And it was interesting because the place that I went, the entire staff dressed up with red noses.
Cool.
And said, "We want to make it, fun for you too." Well, they were having a carnival day, so here's all these elderly people. Well, one of the, gags that a lot of clowns will do is they'll put a squeaker in their glove, and then they'll hand out a sticker and say it's a magic sticker because if you press him right here on the nose, squeak. And most people look down and look up, and they'll get the gag and things along that line. Well, here was this one lady in a wheelchair one time, and she was sitting there and showing no emotion at all. So I do that. She looks down at the sticker, she looks back up at me, and she says, will all be damned. So that was kind of fun in and of itself. But then when I was leaving and saying goodbye, I feel this tug on my arm, and it's this lady, and she says, "Thank you for a wonderful day of entertainment." And prior to that, I had thought maybe she was getting the least out of anybody that was there, and she probably got the most. So any time that, emotion gets evoked in whatever the art is that you're performing or providing, it's always worth it. And, never think that it's not. I feel for the people that go, "Oh, arts and so forth." No, man, you're missing it, because they don't realize the different things that are artful that they already appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah, so get out there and do whatever you can, and you guys do. So you talked a little bit about, you're coming up with February 4th in Sioux Falls.
Yep.
And then you're going up to Brookings and play at the First Lutheran Church up there.
Yep.
Correct? And so those would be some nice things for you. But what's the biggest hall you've ever played?
The biggest hall I've ever played. I can speak for Laura. This was really cool for her. I wasn't around for this, but when she was in college, she went to Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, and their orchestra does a residency in Vienna, Austria once every 4 years. They get to,
wow.
So I think like the band and jazz band from Augustana are in Spain right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
saw that.
so it's kind of like the orchestra equivalent of that. So
Yeah.
the Luther Orchestra gets to go to Vienna every 4 years, and so she got to play at the Vienna Concerthaus, and so like that's, if you're talking about like get into the place where all the famous names did all their stuff, it's just like, Beethoven and Brahms and all those guys were hanging out in Vienna doing their thing, and so she got to play in the same concert hall there. We're like, and I think her director at the time was like, "Oh man, such and such famous conductor, I get to share the same dressing room," that kind of thing. So I'll give Laura the props on that one. So she got to play at the Vienna Concerthaus. Yeah.
It's just like I know that Jeremy Haig.
Yep.
They play down in Omaha quite often, and there's one particular hall down there that some of the greats tinkled on the piano there, and I don't mean that in the wrong way. Meant they tinkled the ivories. Tickled. Edit that out. Yeah. All right, and so let's talk a little bit about your job at the Pavilion as well, since we got you here solo this time. So tell us what the actual title is, and then what does it mean?
Yeah, the official title is Senior Development Associate and Volunteer Coordinator. So
okay, volunteer coordinator, I can kind of understand.
Right, the Senior Development Associate is a cool title that means I'm the grant writer for the Development Fundraising Office. Yeah. What's
the average time you spend on writing a grant?
That is a question I can't answer, because every single one is different. All the requirements are different, and like I'll know that such and such comes with a lot of reporting and regulations and receipts and stuff, and such other one they just want a picture of whatever it is that we did. So they're all different is the short answer.
Okay. Wow, because I've always wondered about that. It's like, how do people get these grants? And, first of all, how do they even find where to get them?
Yeah.
And do you have to do a lot of background research and a lot of digging on the internet? Or
some, yeah. There's always more to be done, more to explore. Luckily, I'm not the first person to be in that role, so I have my predecessors who have reached out to organizations before, and it's a lot of you establish relationships with organizations, and then they're happy and not surprised to see you year after year.
Yeah.
But it's always good to check in to make sure that the projects and programs you have are in line with their values and their goals as well.
All right. Well, we're certainly glad that not only are you at a facility that provides arts and entertainment to the Sioux Empire with the Washington Pavilion, but that you're out being a part of it and sharing your gifts as well. So here comes those miraculous questions that we end every conversation with.
Yep.
Question number one: when you're not part of the arts and entertainment scene, participating in it, what do you like to be entertained by?
Yeah, I was listening to your program the other day when you had Nate Holtz on. I was like, he might ask me this. I should be ready. So I was thinking. Last time we were fortunate to be here, I forgot to mention that we've got some great record stores in town. I love going to Crosstown and Total Drag, and so I got to give a shout out to those fine places. Hit them up, and then Laura and we got some. Okay, so if you want to point fingers at why we have so much snow this year, I think Laura and I might be at fault because a year ago at Christmas, my mother-in-law gave us each a pair of snowshoes, and we said, "Oh, this would be great. 6 inches on the ground, piece of cake, we'll do it."
Right.
And we never didn't hardly get any snow last year, and we said, "Oh, geez, what a waste. We got these cool shoes, we can't do anything. Maybe it'll snow more next year, and then we can actually go snowshoeing."
Ooh, well,
and there we go.
Yeah, you got that part.
Yes,
down.
so we've been doing some snowshoeing.
We just bought a snowblower.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that it's a very large insurance policy that now it won't snow the rest of the year. Any other hobbies?
We learned how to play cribbage last summer, which is
wonderful.
Yeah.
Come on over to the house sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you can beat my wife at that.
When I was a kid, my dad and grandma used to play cribbage, and I never learned, but I could kind of remember
grasp part of it.
The lingo of 15-2, 15-4, 15-6, and a pair is 8. Like I would hear that like music to my ears.
Yeah.
So now when I finally see, I was like, oh, that's what she was talking about. Yeah.
And hopefully one of these days you'll get a 29.
Yes, someday.
Yeah,
Laura had a
someday.
24 once. I forget. It was a bunch of 6, 5s, and 4s and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, you'll have to come over and we'll have a little mini tourney.
Yeah.
All right, Brett Cooper, it's always a pleasure. Once again, just to give us the dates and the times that you have coming up for February.
Yes, thank you.
4th and 5th.
So we are going to be at Poplar's Music at 1119 West 41st. So that's West 41st Street by Grange near Costco. So that's going to be Saturday, February 4. Doors open at 6:30. If you want to, I think Matt, who's our host over there, if you want to RSVP, you can email him at mattw@poplarsmusic.com or call him at 605-961-3929. So that, and then we'll also be at First Lutheran Church in Brookings on Sunday, February 5 at 2 in the afternoon.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks again, Brett.
Thank you, Dave.
And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Support the Dave Holly Hour in a very easy way. Buy Dave a cup of coffee by clicking the cup in the lower left corner of www.davehollyhour.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, yes, it's always a pleasure to talk about Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. We take a little bit different twist on it today, though, as we bring in the very entertaining Thor and Doudna. From the Dakota News Now morning team, meteorologist Aaron Doudna and anchor Erik Thorstenon.
Dave.
And you both have nicknames.
Yeah, I've gone by Thor for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
I should, I think
coming
it
from
resonates with people. People remember Thor.
Yeah. Now, I know that the TV show is actually on a different network, the only network in Sioux Falls you guys aren't on. Mm-hmm. Do you watch the TV show Ghosts? Have you seen it?
I haven't.
You haven't?
My mom likes to watch that show.
There's a character named Thor, an old Viking. Yeah. So every time that they say Thor, it's like, oh my God, am I watching the morning show again?
Yeah, no, I have not. Well, of course, the Marvel characters. So I haven't watched any of those either. You refer to Doudna on that.
I mean, you're both tall and you're both Norse, so some
it works.
Yeah,
and you got the morning voice now after all those years being on late night, and you even ordered a coffee today.
Right. I didn't drink coffee until I started this
Yeah.
because I never watched the morning show until I started anchoring the morning show, but because I wasn't up, of course, at that time. But yeah, I never really. I'm a Diet Coke in the afternoon guy, but now you just kind of get that cup of coffee, kind of gets you going. You know,
very much so.
You're on morning radio.
Yeah,
probably, it's the first thing I do when I get in.
Exactly.
You know,
I would love to be in morning. Well, no, I don't want to say that because I don't want to be in morning radio anymore because radio is not what it used to be. But back then, if we would have had Erik and all those things, now would be great to be starting your morning off and just push. Because I know many a times when I was blurry-eyed and putting the water in, didn't realize somebody had already put the water in the night before. And so I hit start, and we have a flood. Yeah. So no fun that way.
You see, I only do the Keurig. That's my only experience of coffee. Today I ordered a coffee here at the Source. I never come to these places and actually get a real cup of coffee, which should be probably better than the Keurig coffee at the station. Even that's good.
Pretty good, though.
I do.
Keurig's pretty good. And Aaron, you are a Mountain Dew guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't like coffee. I've slammed at least one 52-ounce Dew already this morning, and I downed half a bottle on the way over here too. So I get caffeine other ways.
Okay, now I am curious because my wife and I are very, very good, faithful followers of Dakota News Now.
Good.
Okay.
Good to hear.
Yeah. In fact, we have lights throughout our house named after all of you and so forth.
I remember that.
Yeah. And but what
Is that
I'm
true?
amazed,
Is that true?
It
really
is.
is, yeah.
It really is. And so when it comes to you, so we're aware that you like to. I mean, bowling. You do have your bowling.
Yes, sir.
But beyond that, you like to sit around. You like to have frozen pizzas.
I do.
And all sorts of bad things. And you are what, $1.65?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did it happen? Do you have the world's greatest metabolism?
I think so. Like we've talked about that before on other radio programs and other shows. We just talked about that in general, and I've gotten to a point where I have noticed that it has slowed down, and so I've had to kind of I've had more salads probably already within the past 6 months than I had in the previous 32 years of living. So I'm starting to try to eat a little better, but at the same time, I still love my frozen pizzas. I still love my pizza rolls. I'm still going to chow down on those.
Okay, frozen pizza. What's the go-to brand?
Usually it's just the Totinos, those little $1.50 ones, the ones that are square and in the red package. Yeah, I love those for whatever reason.
All right. So Thor, when it comes to your dietary habits, having to get up early, switching from Diet Coke to having coffee, any go-to for snack?
Well, I don't in the morning. I still eat on a similar schedule that I always have.
Okay.
I don't eat breakfast at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
2:30 in the morning. I just have that
I
coffee.
could never do it either.
Yeah, I don't snack like Alexandra, our co-anchor. She'll snack. During the show. I mean,
she'll run out there, have a bite of her sandwich, eat a little apple, and then come back in.
But she'll have a ham sandwich at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
To me, a ham sandwich just doesn't sound appealing at that time. I like ham sandwiches, but not at that time in the morning. Or a bag of chips or something. So I pretty much still eat I go home and have a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Take the kid, get the kids to school. I'm still involved in driving kids to school. I can still do that. And then I eat lunch after work and dinner at normal time. It's pretty similar.
Yeah. Was that part of the reason for you going to the morning show?
What's that? Oh,
the fact that you with your kids still being around.
It played a big role. Obviously, we merged with KDLT, and just the way things played out, they kind of presented the opportunity to me. I was ready for a change. I'd worked nights for so long, doing sports for so long, and it's sports. You're on the go. You're out shooting games. And I did. I missed things at night, or I was in and I had to get out of there because I had to get back and do the 10. I don't have to do that anymore, which is nice. I can get to things if I need to, or there are no conflicts there. I can, you're done every day by noon, which is nice, and that's been a plus, big time plus.
And you mentioned Alexandra is not here. She happens to be out for a few days yet, but was really kind of looking forward to having her. Now, here's what's interesting about this show, this particular episode, is the fact that the last time we had the morning show on, Aaron Doudna was here, along with Vanessa Gomez. Erik Thorstenon was ill that day.
I was honestly sick that day, which I not to pat myself on the back, but I don't call in sick that just like you don't either, Aaron.
We're always
there. Hard time. We've been there 3 years. I don't know you've called in sick from what I
Not
recall
once,
at all
no.
my 3 years together. But if I call in sick, I'm sick. I'm feeling bad. So I felt bad I wasn't here that day. I was sick. I was honestly sick.
Yeah, when I call in sick, it usually means it's a day that ends in Y.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
got a few extra things to do.
You know what? I'm just calling it today. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so how has the dynamic changed with Alexandra being here now over a year?
It's been good. I mean, I was going to say one thing why she has a very good reason to not be here.
Yes.
She went home to Pittsburgh because her mom was sworn in as the first female Supreme Court Justice or Chief Justice of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So she spoke at her ceremony on Friday. The governor was there.
Oh.
A big deal there, and so she is. She's back home.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal for her. Their
very
family.
legitimate reason, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So as these morning shows progress, because I'm also a huge fan of the Today Show, so I've been watching that most of my life, and you see patterns, and now everything's become a little bit more entertaining. You, especially coming from sports already kind of had that element.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of entertainment, nicknames and different things, and the way that you can say and takes it to the house for a touchdown, something along that line. How did you transgress? Let's find the right word here. How did you move from that into the news part and find the entertainment value coming along?
The thing I've found that has been really nice with the morning show is you're just more loose on time. Like even when you did sports, you had your 3 minutes or your 4 minutes, and you wanted to get through it all. What you wanted to, or you knew what you wanted to get through. I mean, sometimes there wasn't a lot of time on the end. We get to the end of the show, there wasn't a lot of time to talk. It was like good night. The morning show gives you room to breathe.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, you're on for 2 hours. To an extent, we don't. Eventually you got to cut it off and move on to what's next. But it's given you. I think it's. I just like that. You don't feel confined to one thing. Like in sports, you were obviously just doing sports. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you had to stick to that time, and you were out there for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Now you're on for 2 hours. You're on for 2 hours. I've enjoyed that switch.
Well, and what I've enjoyed about you being on there now is the fact that we do get a little bit of sports.
Yeah.
In the morning as well, and just to catch up and so forth. So that's a nice change. I always like that, and of course. Aaron, we talked about this the last time you were on, the question of the day.
Yes.
Yes, and I get a kick out of that. I don't go, I'm an old news person from years back, but I don't get curmudgeon about it. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, they shouldn't have that on a morning show. I actually enjoy it. I think it's cute and so forth, but what I love about it is you guys don't know the answer. Correct?
No.
All right. I think it's a great little test in psychology because you guys will have a statement that says 43% of Americans haven't done this in 9 years or something. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody that's watching that is going, 43%. They're forgetting that's not a majority.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. And so everybody's trying to think of, obvious answers and so forth. Mm-hmm. What's been one of your favorites, that has come along that you were like, wow, never thought of that?
The question of the day. Well, sometimes the answer is ridiculous.
Sometimes the answer, because we had one recently where it was like a very small amount of people. It was like 1 in 5 or not even 1 in 5, probably like, I can't remember. It was a very small percentage of people under the age of 35 don't know how to do this. And so, we're thinking like drive a manual transmission or write a check or something like that. The answer was how to tell time on an analog clock.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
And I'm just like, how? Like, because I'm technically part of that question because I'm under the age of 35. I'm like, how do people not know how to read an analog clock? Mm-hmm. It just that's just absolutely ridiculous
Incredible,
to me.
Huh?
Yeah.
There's a generational difference I've found, obviously, but that seemed ridiculous. Like, I compare this like, well, you should know the clock. I mean, even my kids, I hope, know how to tell the time on a regular clock. But I remember pulling a old videotape to fill up some file video on a tape. It was one of our young reporters was back there. They didn't know to hit rewind or what you put this in. What do you do now?
Oh, wow.
They've never edited or anything on tape. It's all
Well, I think of that.
linear.
Before I ended up becoming a broadcaster, my dream when I was 14 and 15 was to be a photographer. And I actually had my own darkroom. And most people don't know what the hell a darkroom is now. I developed my pictures.
You'd put it in the pool
liquid,
of water.
Yeah.
Liquid.
Move it around. Oh, yeah. Well, that looks nice.
Flip it up, hang it up.
Yeah. Oh, I know it. And so many of them. Oh, yeah, darkroom. Isn't that on Adobe?
I know. I mean, just something as simple as that. A tape that you used to.
Exactly.
Up to 10 years ago, that's, we were bringing in, every newscast, the editor brought in a stack of tapes with labels on them. Put them in order. And the director would play one after the other. You had to be in the right order.
Exactly.
But none of that anymore.
Well, in fact, you guys don't even have anybody on the stage with you anymore, correct? All the cameras are
for the most part, yeah. Because back in the day, like over at the old building, we would have 1, 2, 3 people behind the scenes running all the cameras that were there. Anymore, all the cameras are robotic. We have only one other person that's in the studio with the 3 of us at a time, and that's the person scrolling the prompter. So that way Thor and Alexandra can read your stories.
But even there, you have a pedal underneath that we could do it ourselves. That's not my contract.
Thor's a little too tall for that, he claims.
Get my knee under the desk.
You need a rider on that, huh? Yeah. So what do you have in your dressing room then?
Well, we do have a dressing room, but it's amazing how sometimes people say that they'll ask you, and you probably get asked this too, Dowd, does someone do your makeup?
This beauty is all natural, baby.
There's no one there at 5:30 in the morning on the Today Show and Good Morning America.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure there are people there.
They're
makeup
there for
people,
an hour probably, sitting in a
me.
chair. Yeah.
Not us. No, we're doing it ourselves.
All right, and as we talk about everything, we're having a lot of fun and so forth. But news is obviously serious, especially when you've got stories like everything happening in Ukraine, or we talk about debt ceiling and so forth. But do you also sit there sometimes when it's a big news day, and then all of a sudden you get one of the fluff entertainment pieces coming in and kind of go, a little breath?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, those are the good conversation pieces. We don't come out and have a lot of side banter about what's going on in Ukraine.
Right.
We can have a story about space or movies or box office or something like
National
that.
Pie Day.
Yeah, national days, and that gives us a chance to kind of breathe and relax and just kind of take it down. That's the nice thing I like about the morning show is I feel like it's not as serious as the evenings all the time. There's time for us to have a little banter. There's time for us to joke a little bit, show a little more personality, so to say, and just make things a little more enjoyable in the mornings.
What have you enjoyed about working with each other?
Well, I knew Aaron before because we worked in the same, but not well, because we didn't work together.
I
that often.
worked an evening for Phil or something like that.
Fill in like that. No, it's been good to get to know, different personalities. It took a while to figure out Aaron, but now I've figured him out.
That's what he claims.
and of course, and Vanessa was great, and Alexandra has been great. Anything with a new person, it takes a little while. And she's been here a little over a year now, but. Yeah, I just think we all mesh well, and
now you have another new person, Elle Dakota, that's on the show.
Yep, our new morning reporter.
Yeah,
she just started. We've had obviously you have a little turnover in that position.
Yeah,
people want to stay on that.
People don't like waking up at dark 30.
Yeah, true.
And she's out in the element. They're out in the elements, but she's doing a good job. She's young. She's a young girl, just not far out of college or something. And so she's doing a great job. For her first job out of school. So she's still actually in school. She's taking courses online.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so she's working while she's working.
Yeah.
Good for her.
I think she's, for as little experience, as young as she is, she's doing a great job.
Yeah, she is. Yep. Yeah, she really has been enjoyable to watch that because, like you said, there is a lot of turnover in that particular position. But, everybody's working for something. And Thor, what was your break?
When I started in this business, well, when I finished at USD, I had interned at KTIV and the NBC in Sioux City, Channel 4.
Yep.
And
Dave Nixon still there at that time?
His son was my news director, Dave Nixon Jr.
Yeah,
he had already. I know Dave passed last week. he was a guy I grew up watching.
Yeah, I
I grew
know
up
it.
in Sioux City, so just like you grew up in Rock Rapids, that was, he was
That was
the anchor.
Yeah, exactly.
For Sioux
Signal
City.
Hill, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And so when I got done because I'd interned there and I was just getting done with school, there's a new sports reporter position open there. It didn't hurt that my dad was good friends with the general manager to get my tape to the front of
right,
and that got me in the door. And I worked in Sioux City at KTIV for 3 years doing news and sports, and I think it helped doing news. I didn't just start in sports.
Right.
You learn a lot doing news too. Covering school board meetings or city council aren't fun really all the time, but I learned a lot doing all sorts of different things besides sports, which I think helped me. I wanted to do sports full time, but that helped me those 3 years of doing news. So.
Well, I think at least in my experience, having been in news and a little bit in sports, but radio sports instead of TV, just the fact that the writing element that you learn in how to write news and so forth.
And it helped. Doing radio helped. I worked at WNAX in Yankton when I was in my last year at college.
Stick,
Your big friend in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd go there and do weekends, and then you're on a 6-hour shift playing records and CDs. And
one of my first internships was at KSCJ in Sioux City.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Dick Michaels was the news director then.
Dick and Randy.
Yeah, Dick and Randy.
Was Woody Gottberg there?
No.
Okay,
but it was interesting because here's how much I wanted to get into radio. I had to work from 6 p.m. till midnight Saturday night and sign on the station at 6 a.m. So I slept at the station, and it was back when the AP was still truly a wire. So all night long, you're falling asleep to
tearing off sheets. And,
using the trowel to rip it properly and so forth before all this modern technology came along. And, just print what story you want. Aaron, what about for you? What was the big break?
Let's see. So I finished college spring of 2013 and just applied for basically every meteorological position I could find. And eventually I ended up getting a phone call from Sean Cable, who was the morning guy previously here at KSFY, and talked with him a little bit. And he knew the guy in Wichita that I interned under and the guy in Kansas City that I interned under. And then that brought me up the chain to our news director, Kevin King. And then I just, interviewed really well with him. It was only for a weather producer position. So I was the guy in the mornings making the graphics for Sean. So that way he could also focus on reading news while doing the weather. I was just the guy who made sure that all of his weather stuff was all finished, all made, and all ready to go. And then eventually that turned into a weekend gig over there at KSFY. And then I'd fill in for Sean and Phil whenever they wanted to take time off. Then I was out of the industry for like 18 months. And then over at KDLT, got hired as the morning guy. And then it's just, kind of the merger happened. And now I'm back over here in this building that we were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you originally want to be just a meteorologist, or did you go to school to be a broadcaster?
I went to school to be a meteorologist. I figured, broadcast meteorology is kind of what everybody knows and kind of what everybody relates to, but there are also so many different meteorological positions. Obviously the Weather Service has very good meteorologists with them. And then there's also private industry ones, the airport hires Mets too. But, just growing up and watching Dave Freeman down in Wichita, it just kind of just sparked. He came and talked to us, like every year when we were in school too. And it just kind of stuck with me. And so while I was working on that meteorology degree, the atmospheric science degree, I ended up taking some journalism classes. So that way, if I did go on to the broadcast side of things, I wouldn't be completely lost at a news station. I'd be able to, at least write stories if I needed to be, or do this or do that, or, do whatever I needed to do.
It's always interesting to hear the stories of how people got in and what they have been doing. But are there things that you want yet? What's on Doudna's bucket list in terms of a career?
In terms of I love my job. I love what I do, and working mornings is just, I feel like it just works well for me. I feel like it fits my personality. It's a little more lax. It's a little more free form. It's a little more loose, and I really enjoy that. Nobody likes waking up at 1:30, 2 in the morning, but whenever you're able to do something that you love and enjoy and work with decent people like Thor, then everything decent. Yeah. There's a big asterisk next to that. Yeah. It just makes it so much easier and so much fun. Like I don't view like us doing the show as work.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there are some mornings where you're tired as all hell and don't want to do anything, but doing that show for 2 hours, you wake up and we're waking up with you sometimes, and it's just a lot of fun.
The best reaction from people you get is when they ask what time you have to get up. I get up at 3.
Okay.
When you tell them that, they're just like,
oh yeah.
How do you do that? I could never do that.
Adjust
and
your
I was
hours.
worried about that because I worked nights all those years.
Yeah.
So I didn't go until 1:32, and I was done at midnight. Of course, then I went to bed at 1 or 2, and I was up a lot of times with the kids at 7, or took a nap then in the morning. But that was what I was worried about, the adjustment in the schedule. Once you get used to once you're up, it's all right.
Yep.
Yeah, and a couple months is all it takes, really.
Yeah, the first few months, but Friday night 7 o'clock, I was out.
I remember when I first started morning radio, that I was like up every hour because I was afraid the alarm wasn't going to go off.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a nightmare you have recurring.
Yeah.
I set 2 alarms.
Okay.
And I think like the thing with us is that we do not hit snooze. Like, well, I mean, you can't hit snooze because Amy would kill you.
Oh, yeah, my wife would say.
Yeah, like me, I can't hit, like, I have, like my little Alexa just like blast Nirvana whenever I want to get up. So that
Okay.
way it scares me awake. I get out of bed, I turn it off. I don't hit snooze because I'll sleep through all those snooze alarms too. I think like Alexandra has like 27 different alarms so that way she can hit snooze every 5 minutes. And I'm like, I can't do that. I need to get up or I'm going to sleep still.
I get up and get going. I pop right up.
Yep.
Of course, sometimes I will sleep through it, but I'll get a whap from my wife. Get up. So,
All right, so we know the times that you get up. Take us through an average day at Dakota News Now, Monday through Friday in the morning.
well, I get in a little before 4 probably,
Mm-hmm.
and then and we have a producer, Jacob Forster, who does a great
job.
and he comes in overnight. I mean, he's in at 11 at night.
Yeah.
So the thing about the morning show, obviously a lot of the news is from the night before.
Mm-hmm.
You have a few new national things, or there may have been breaking news overnight, a fire or something like that. But the show is pretty much done. We'll look over it a little bit, maybe write some teases, write a few things, throw in the highlight of the day. We'll cut radio news. With our radio
That's
partners,
right, yeah.
we'll go do that and do our Alexa news. Alexandra and I will take turns with that. And then, the show is at 5. And the one thing about the mornings, and you probably remember this doing mornings, the mornings fly by.
Oh, they do.
Really, the mornings go fast.
Yep.
I always called it the fastest 4 hours in radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our 2-hour show just seems to buzz by quick. Before it's 7 o'clock.
I know it, because then I'm sitting there going, wow, time for the Today Show now.
Yeah, no, I said in a lot of people, it's amazing on your days off though. People still ask you though, do you get up at that time? Still, I go, no, I don't. I don't sleep. I don't sleep as late as I used to. I wake up earlier, but I don't get up at.
You'll take advantage of the days off.
4:35.
That's like this morning you texted me at like 5:45
to remind him to be here.
And then I responded to him at like 6:15 and then immediately went back to bed for like another hour and a half.
He said, "What are you up?" I said, "What are you up?"
Yeah, and I'm like, yep, nope, saw your text. Here you go.
Well, it's always fun to chat about the media and how it relates to entertainment and the arts and so forth. So a couple of questions I always like to end with. So, Erik, when you go out to take in an arts or an entertainment event, what is it that strikes the fancy that you say, can't miss this?
Movie. We'll go to movies. I don't go to a lot of production. I would like to. I mean, like at the Pavilion or.
It's hard with the kids, right?
Yeah, we don't that often, but I'd like a concert. Every once in a while, go to a good concert.
Well, our mutual friend Mike Henriksen would always say, live music is good for the soul.
Good for the soul, yes. Yeah, Mike goes to a lot of shows.
Oh, he doesn't miss many, that's for sure.
No, I enjoy going to concerts too.
Yeah.
I don't do it as much as I'd like to.
And he has played Dave Hollyour Trivia.
That's right.
On an evening off.
Yes.
And he came in second.
I was gonna say that was just like last week, wasn't it?
A couple weeks.
Yeah,
Over
2 weeks
Christmas
back,
break.
yeah.
I was off that week.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had trivia night. We were just. I don't.
know
We
you were
don't.
there. I shamed him into it.
Yeah,
really
I bet you did. Yeah.
We don't live far from Chasers, and so we just went down there to eat and have a few drinks, and so you can go up there and we got to stick around for this. My wife had to leave.
Yeah,
she had to leave.
You
but-
guys did well.
Yeah, we got second.
You got second.
We got the $15.
Yeah, the $15 gift certificate.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
And we only had 2 of us. The other table at one had like 7, so they had 7 minds going into it.
Oh,
Sometimes it's a hindrance, man.
Oh,
Too many answers.
No, actually, the way it works, because you can have up to 6, and there is one family, but they all play pool, so they only get to play trivia about once a month when they're not shooting pool. And they're called All in the Family. That's their team name. And they've got 4 generations.
Are they usually there for trivia night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And when they're there, they're placing for sure, and quite often winning because Grandpa, served in World War. And let's see, then they've got a couple more that have been in the service, and they've got Mom that knows a lot of stuff, and the kid knows all the
Was that who beat us
stuff.
that night?
No, they were not. That was just a loaded team that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was disappointed in one thing, though. He missed the picture.
We did miss
Paul
one.
Krause.
Yeah, I missed Paul Krause. I should have known that as a Viking fan. He's
Oh
the
my
old.
God, how
he's
could
the old-
you?
Yeah.
Is he still the all-time leader in interceptions
Yeah, he is.
in the
Yep,
NFL?
In the NFL.
Yeah.
All right. So then, any other hobbies?
I like to golf in the summer a little bit.
Yeah. What's your handicap?
Oh, not great. I mean,
yeah.
I'd say 8. It's double digits.
Okay.
It's into the double digits. It's teens. It's 18.
As long as you enjoy
If
it.
I'm playing well, it's teens. If I'm, bogey golf's good. If I'm playing bogey golf, I'm winning.
Average American
I'm
is
playing,
a bogey golfer.
I'm playing well. I just don't. Another thing, I don't probably play enough with kids. You're busy with baseball in the summer. Boys
Keeps
play
you going.
baseball, and so I like doing that. And I don't golf as much as Aaron Bowles.
True.
I was gonna say I don't golf. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, Aaron does have a way though of bowling a couple nights a week till 10 at night and getting in there in the morning.
Yeah, normally
It's called 52 ounces of Mountain Dew.
at least, and also just like taking big fatty naps in the middle of the day, like sleeping from like 11 in the morning until like 5 at night. Which isn't really a nap. That's actually like sleeping. So yeah.
All right. So, Aaron, when it comes to your time that's free, we'll talk about the bowling in a little bit. But when it comes to arts and entertainment, what do you like to go out to?
I mean, before I went to the University of Kansas, I was at a junior college, a JUCO, down around Wichita, and I had a full ride music scholarship there for saxophone.
Saxophone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so, if I'm out and about downtown and I, hear live music somewhere, especially like some live jazz or like down at R.
RY.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I hear something, I'll like stick around and kind of linger and just kind of listen a little bit, just to kind of get that itch scratched a little bit too. So, I mean, if I can find live jazz somewhere, I'm gonna go listen to it, whether it's solo, duo, trio, quart, quint, whatever. I'm going to be listening to that, and every so often, if something pops up that comes across like a social media feed or someone tells me about it, like something at like the Pavilion. Or like going and seeing Late Night Booming.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's that one character that's on there that I favor.
Yeah, that old curmudgeon.
Yeah, he is. Boy.
But like if something like that pops up, then if I'm able to swing it, make sure that I can wake up in the morning, the next day for work, then I'm gonna go see that. I recently, about a month or so ago, went down to the State Theater and caught a movie at the State Theater for the first time since like they did all the renos to it too. And
Crack a beer?
It's awesome.
no, I didn't even know
okay.
because I was too worried about having to wake up the next morning too. I just kind of sat there and enjoyed a movie and it's really nice in there what they've done to it. Oh gosh, gorgeous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So I mean, if I can get out and do something like that, I'm going to take a break from my lethargic and lazy ways and actually go out and do something.
I want you to play the sax some morning in the morning show, like the open Bob
I
Seger's
do
Turn the
too.
Page.
Yeah.
Open, that'd be a good
Play
opening.
a little Careless Whisper for you.
Yeah.
A little Jethro Tull, a little Aqualung.
Yeah.
Or that part in Billy Joel's New York State of Mind.
Yeah.
That's got a nice long
Ball of
sax.
red, ball of white, yeah.
Could you play those?
The Billy, all the ones that we previously named, I already can. The Billy Joel one, I'd have to sit down and kind of listen to and kind of, write out and memorize. But if you give me, I don't know, a week or so to figure out the notes and sit down and memorize it, I'll do that. That's what I did with Foreigner's Urgent when I was in high school, and try to rip those solos whenever I was doing jazz and everything like that. Yeah.
All right.
Just give me some time.
And besides bowling, any other hobbies?
Not really, because I don't really tend to, get out and do too many other things.
Video games.
I was going to say video games is the one other thing that I would do, because I can just stay in, and then whenever I hit a wall and I need to take a nap, then I can just turn it off and just sit on the couch and just fall right asleep.
All right. How many 300 games now?
I'm up to 2.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
He was the highlight of the day.
I
one
remember
morning.
that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I tried to talk you out of it. I thought I was just like, no, nobody wants to see that.
That's not true.
Yeah, my mom wanted to see that. Yeah, my mom wanted to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is true.
Always
Whenever
got parents.
That's impressive.
Yeah, whenever somebody at the bowling alley, gets, like 9, 10, 11 deep, the whole entire place stops and starts paying attention, which then the pressure's on, and that's when you really start to feel it.
Kind of like being a pitcher. And you're getting the no-no, and all of a sudden you're sitting by yourself. Nobody wants to talk to you. Or
that's the old superstition. They're not supposed to talk.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. I'm the opposite. Like, I want people to keep talking to me. I want people to don't talk
Keep
to me
me
about,
loose.
hey, you have 11 in a row. No, don't do that to me. But just keep a conversation going. Just keep doing what you've been doing for the past 10 frames.
All right. Well, guys, it's been a blast. Thank you so much, Erik Thorstenon and Aaron Doudna from the Dakota News Now morning show. Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, thanks for any time.
It's a great time, man.
And appreciate it. We'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
I'm thinking of my grandpa Dave, but I just call him Dave.
Thanks again to those great guests, Brett Cooper, and then Erik Thorstenon and Aaron Doudna. Thanks to all the great people at The Source where we held this week's conversations. And, of course, thank you for listening, downloading, sharing, following in social media, and your overall support of the show. If you haven't done so far, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Automatically gets you entered no matter which one you follow for Pizza with a Podcaster. For all 164 episodes, go online, DaveHollyHour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.